The lights are down. The countdown has begun. The crowd at MetLife Stadium is no longer waiting for Bruno Mars to return. Bruno Mars is already on stage, and the first night of the romantic tour in East Rutherford has officially come alive. After weeks of anticipation, the wait is over. Day 45 has arrived, and Mr. Romantic is back in front of thousands of hooligans in New Jersey. The atmosphere has shifted from anticipation to absolute electricity, because this is not simply another concert on the schedule. It marks Bruno Mars' return to the United States for the next chapter of the romantic tour, and the opening night at MetLife Stadium has delivered exactly the kind of dramatic entrance fans have been waiting for. If you are watching this right now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because tonight's show is unfolding in real time, and there are plenty of moments that fans will be talking about long after the final note. The stadium lights fade even further. The countdown music rises. 1 second, then another. And suddenly, the waiting is over. Bruno Mars appears. The reaction from the crowd explodes through MetLife Stadium as thousands of voices rise together. Hooligans who have been waiting for this US return are finally watching Bruno take the stage again, and the energy is unmistakable. This is day 45. This is MetLife Stadium. And this is the moment the romantic tour officially returns to the United States. For Bruno Mars, a stadium this massive creates a completely different kind of spectacle. MetLife Stadium is one of the most recognizable venues in the New York metropolitan area, and tonight, the building has been transformed into a giant stage for one of pop music's biggest performers. The cameras are moving. The lights are sweeping across the audience. The crowd is singing before Bruno has even finished the opening moments. And then the first familiar sounds begin to fill the stadium. This is where the concert stops feeling like an ordinary performance and starts feeling like an event. Because Bruno Mars has always understood something that few performers can replicate: the power of anticipation. He knows when to pause. He knows when to let the crowd sing. He knows when a single gesture can create a stadium-wide reaction. And tonight, those instincts are on full display. The return has been building for weeks. Fans followed the tour through Europe and the United Kingdom. They watched the major stadium moments, the surprise visuals, the fashion, the dance breaks, the emotional performances, and the unforgettable audience reactions. Now the spotlight has returned to America, and New Jersey is first. MetLife Stadium becomes the backdrop for the opening night of this next chapter, while thousands of hooligans become part of the story. But here is where things get interesting. A Bruno Mars stadium show is never only about hearing the songs you already know. It is about the moment you realize that the entire stadium knows what is coming next. You can feel it. A melody begins. The crowd recognizes it. The screams get louder. And before Bruno even reaches the biggest part of the song, the audience is already singing the words back to him. That connection is one of the defining elements of Bruno Mars' live performances. His catalog is filled with songs that have become part of everyday pop culture, from massive solo hits to unforgettable collaborations and silk sonic classics. Tracks that dominated radio, streaming platforms, award shows, music videos, weddings, parties, and playlists now become stadium anthems. And when tens of thousands of people sing those songs together, the experience changes completely. The stage becomes smaller, the audience becomes louder, and Bruno becomes the conductor of one enormous chorus. Tonight, MetLife Stadium is not simply watching the show. MetLife is participating in it. The energy keeps building as Bruno moves through the performance with the confidence of an artist who knows exactly how to control a massive crowd. One moment, the atmosphere is explosive. The next, everything becomes intimate. That contrast is part of the magic. Bruno can turn a stadium into a dance floor and then, moments later, make the same audience feel like they are sitting in a small theater watching a personal performance. And that emotional shift is important because the romantic tour is built around more than spectacle. It is built around romance, nostalgia, celebration, rhythm, and the feeling of being completely present in a live musical moment. Tonight, those themes hit differently, because Bruno is not returning to an empty stage. He is returning to an audience that has been waiting, and you can hear that anticipation in every scream. You can see it in every phone held above the crowd. You can feel it every time the lighting changes. Zoom in on the audience for a moment and you see thousands of individual reactions. Friends singing together, couples dancing, longtime hooligans recording the entrance, and fans who have waited years to experience Bruno Mars inside a stadium this massive. This is the kind of night that becomes a memory. And we are still only at the beginning. That is the part that makes tonight so fascinating. Because if the opening moments are already this intense, what happens when Bruno reaches the biggest songs of the night? What happens when the entire stadium knows every word? What happens when the band locks into the groove and the lights turn MetLife Stadium into a sea of movement? And what happens when Bruno decides to slow everything down? Those are the moments fans are watching for. The biggest performances often come with the smallest warning. A sudden change in lighting, a pause from the band, Bruno walking toward the edge of the stage, the audience realizing what is about to happen, and then the explosion. That is the rhythm of the romantic tour. Build, pause, release, build again. It is a formula Bruno has mastered throughout his career, but inside a stadium environment, the impact becomes enormous. Tonight also represents another major chapter in the larger story of Bruno Mars in 2026. The romantic era has taken Bruno into a new phase of his career, with fans following the music, the performances, the fashion, the collaborations, the streaming milestones, and the worldwide attention surrounding the tour. And now, with Day 45, the US Stadium chapter is officially moving again. The significance goes beyond one night. This is momentum. This is the continuation of a tour that has already generated enormous attention. And this is Bruno Mars reminding audiences why his live shows remain among the most anticipated events in modern pop music. There is something especially powerful about watching a performer return after a break. The audience has had time to miss the music. The artist has had time to step away. And when the lights finally disappear, that separation suddenly ends. The first note becomes a reunion. The first dance move becomes a statement. The first crowd interaction becomes a reminder. Bruno Mars is back, and the hooligans are ready. As the show continues, the production becomes increasingly dynamic. The lighting moves with the music. The giant screens capture close-up moments. The band drives the rhythm forward. The choreography keeps the stage moving. And Bruno shifts effortlessly between performer, vocalist, dancer, entertainer, and frontman. This is where the stadium scale becomes important. A performance that might feel enormous inside an arena has to become even bigger at MetLife Stadium. Every gesture needs to travel. Every lighting cue needs to reach the upper sections. Every musical transition has to create a reaction. And Bruno has spent his career building the skills required for exactly this kind of environment. He does not simply perform songs. He creates moments. That difference matters, because people may forget a specific lighting effect. They may forget exactly when a particular dance move happened, but they remember the moment an entire stadium screamed together. They remember the moment Bruno stopped singing and let the audience take over. They remember the moment they looked around and realized everyone around them knew the same song. Those are the moments that turn a concert into a memory. And tonight, MetLife Stadium is producing plenty of them. But there is another layer to the story. The return to the United States comes after an international journey that has already given the romantic tour some of its biggest visual and emotional moments. Fans have watched Bruno bring the production across major cities and legendary venues, creating a tour narrative that continues to grow with every stop. Now New Jersey has its own chapter, and Day 45 has arrived with enormous expectations. The question was never whether Bruno could command the stadium. The question was how the stadium would respond. And the answer is already clear. The hooligans came prepared. They sing. They dance. They scream. They record. They wave. And every time Bruno interacts with the crowd, the response gets even louder. There is a special relationship between Bruno and his audience, and tonight that relationship feels especially visible. He does not need to explain the connection. The reaction explains it for him. Now imagine the camera pulling back from the stage. The full stadium comes into view. Thousands of lights, thousands of phones, thousands of people moving to the same beat. For a few seconds, MetLife Stadium looks less like a football stadium and more like one enormous concert arena. Then the music changes. The crowd notices. The tension rises. This is the moment we have been waiting for. Because every Bruno Mars concert has that point where the audience realizes the next major sequence is coming. The band tightens the rhythm. The lighting changes. Bruno moves into position. The crowd gets louder. And then the song hits. The entire stadium erupts. This is the payoff of the anticipation that started before the doors even opened. Fans waited outside. Fans traveled to New Jersey. Fans watched the countdown. Fans followed every update. And now they are inside the show. The romantic tour has officially returned. But the night is not finished. Far from it. The deeper the concert goes, the more the audience becomes part of the performance. That is one of Bruno Mars' greatest strengths. He understands that a stadium show cannot feel like a one-way broadcast. The audience has to feel involved. They need moments where they can sing, moments where they can dance, moments where they can scream, and moments where Bruno simply looks across the crowd and lets the atmosphere speak for itself. Tonight has all of those ingredients, and as the performance continues, the emotional range becomes even wider. There is celebration. There is nostalgia. There is romance. There is pure funk. There is pop. There is soul. There is the unmistakable Bruno Mars groove that has become one of the signatures of his career. From the opening countdown to the biggest sing-along moments, the show continues to remind everyone why Bruno Mars remains such a powerful live performer. But perhaps the most important story of Day 45 is not one particular song. It is the return itself. After the international chapters of the romantic tour, Bruno is home again. The United States leg has restarted. And New Jersey has become the first audience to witness this next stage. The lights may have gone down at the beginning of the night, but the anticipation only became brighter. The countdown may have reached zero, but the excitement has just started. And Bruno Mars has once again turned a stadium into his world. As the show moves toward its biggest moments, one thing becomes increasingly obvious. The romantic tour is not slowing down. It is gaining another wave of momentum. The Hooligans are back. Bruno is back. And MetLife Stadium has officially joined the story. For anyone who has followed this tour from the beginning, tonight is another milestone. For anyone discovering the tour for the first time, this is a perfect reminder of what a Bruno Mars concert can feel like. It is loud. It is polished. It is emotional. It is unpredictable. And above all, it is designed to make people feel something. That is why the opening night atmosphere matters. That is why the countdown mattered. That is why the first appearance on stage mattered. Because for a few seconds before Bruno appeared, everyone was simply waiting. Then the lights changed. The music started. The crowd exploded. And Mr. Romantic officially returned. Day 45 is now part of the romantic tour history. MetLife Stadium has witnessed the beginning of another U.S. chapter. And the Hooligans have made their presence impossible to ignore. But remember, this is only the first night of this return. The story continues. The next show is already waiting. The next crowd is already preparing. And after seeing the reaction in East Rutherford tonight, one question remains. How much bigger can this tour get from here? Because if the opening night at MetLife Stadium is any indication, Bruno Mars has not returned quietly. He has returned with a stadium-sized statement. The lights came down. The countdown began. The silence disappeared. And Bruno Mars stepped back into the spotlight. Mr. Romantic is officially back. And the Hooligans are ready for whatever comes next. If you are part of the Hooligans watching this moment unfold, make your voice heard. comment below with the song you most want to see Bruno perform on this US leg. Share this video with another Bruno Mars fan, and subscribe for more updates, performances, tour moments, and breaking entertainment coverage. The romantic tour is back in America. Day 45 belongs to MetLife Stadium. And tonight, Bruno Mars reminded everyone that when the lights go down and the music begins, the real show is only getting started. And just when the crowd thinks the biggest moments of the night have already happened, Bruno Mars finds another way to raise the energy. The atmosphere inside MetLife Stadium continues to evolve. The opening night excitement has now transformed into something even bigger, a shared experience between Bruno and thousands of hooligans who have waited for this exact moment. Every camera angle tells a different story. On stage, Bruno is completely locked into the performance. In the audience, fans are singing every word. Across the stadium, phone screens light up like stars. And somewhere between the music, the choreography, and the screaming crowd, it becomes clear that this is more than a concert return. This is a celebration of Bruno Mars, a celebration of live music, and a celebration of the connection between an artist and the people who have followed him throughout his career. The romantic tour has always carried a sense of mystery. What will Bruno wear? Which song will create the biggest reaction? Will there be a surprise? Will the crowd take over the vocals? Will Bruno change something from previous performances? Those questions keep fans watching from the first second to the final note. And tonight, that curiosity is stronger than ever, because this is the first MetLife Stadium show, the first night back in this US chapter. And first nights always carry a different kind of electricity. There is no guarantee that the audience knows exactly what will happen. There is no guarantee that every moment will unfold exactly like the previous shows. That uncertainty creates tension, and tension is exactly what makes a live performance exciting. Suddenly, the tempo shifts. The stage becomes darker. The crowd notices. Thousands of voices begin to rise. Bruno pauses. For a moment, there is almost silence. Then the music returns, and the stadium erupts again. This is the kind of pattern interrupt that keeps a Bruno Mars concert moving. The show can go from explosive dance energy to a quieter emotional moment and then immediately explode back into a full stadium celebration. That contrast is one of the reasons his performances are so replayable. There is always another layer, another transition, another reaction, another moment waiting around the corner. And for the hooligans inside MetLife Stadium, there is no pause in the excitement. The crowd knows the songs. They know the melodies. They know the choreography. They know the signature Bruno Mars moments. But knowing what is coming does not make it less exciting. Sometimes it makes it louder, because the moment the audience recognizes the opening beat, thousands of people respond at once. That is the power of a global hit. A song that may have started years ago in a recording studio can suddenly become a stadium-wide memory. Bruno stands at the center of it all, and the audience sings back. This is the relationship that has defined Bruno Mars' career. The performer gives the crowd the song. The crowd gives it back. Then Bruno takes control again. The band follows. The lights rise. The rhythm accelerates. And the stadium becomes a giant dance floor. For a performer, this kind of environment demands precision. There are no small mistakes when the audience is this large. Every movement is amplified. Every vocal moment is heard by thousands. Every lighting change becomes part of the visual story. But Bruno appears comfortable inside that pressure. That confidence has been built over years of touring, recording, performing, and developing a stage presence that is instantly recognizable. He can walk onto a stage and immediately change the atmosphere. He can raise one hand and make an audience scream. He can step back and let the band carry the moment. He can point the microphone toward the crowd and suddenly tens of thousands of voices become the lead vocalist. That is not accidental. That is performance control. And tonight, MetLife Stadium is experiencing it firsthand. But there is something else happening beneath the spectacle. Fans are creating their own memories. Some have traveled long distances. Some have waited months. Some have followed Bruno since his earliest hits. Others may have discovered him through newer music, collaborations, streaming platforms, or viral performances. Different generations, different stories. One stadium, one artist, one night. That is what makes concerts like this so powerful. The people in the crowd may not know each other, but for a few hours, they share the same soundtrack. And Bruno Mars is providing it. The camera cuts back to the stage. The lights flash. The band hits another transition. Bruno moves across the platform. The audience reacts immediately. There is no need for an explanation. The reaction says everything. This is why the return to the United States matters. The romantic tour is no longer simply a collection of individual dates. It has become a continuing story. Every city adds another chapter. Every stadium creates another memory. Every audience brings a different personality. And tonight, that personality belongs to New Jersey. MetLife Stadium has its own reputation. It is a massive sports venue. But tonight, the field belongs to music. The roar of the crowd replaces the usual game day atmosphere. The stage lights dominate the building. And Bruno Mars has turned the venue into a temporary home for the romantic tour. This is the kind of night that fans will replay tomorrow. They will talk about the entrance. They will talk about the vocals. They will talk about the dancing. They will talk about the crowd. They will talk about what Bruno said between songs. And inevitably, they will compare tonight with previous tour dates. That is another reason the conversation around the romantic tour continues to grow. Every performance creates new details. Every new city brings new reactions. And fans are constantly looking for those differences. The smallest change can become a major talking point. A different outfit, a different transition, a different interaction, a different crowd response, a different emotional moment. That is the beauty of following a live tour. You never completely know what the next night will bring. And tonight, the first MetLife Stadium show has already established its own identity. The energy is unmistakable. The hooligans are loud. Bruno is fully engaged. And the production is operating at stadium scale. Now the show moves deeper into its emotional territory. The pace slows. The lights soften. The crowd becomes quieter. For a moment, the enormous stadium feels surprisingly intimate. This is where Bruno's vocal ability becomes even more important. Without the need for constant movement, the focus shifts toward the voice, the emotion, the lyrics, the connection. Thousands of people become completely silent, waiting for the next line. And then the audience joins in. That transition from silence to a full stadium sing-along can be one of the most emotional moments of a Bruno Mars performance. It reminds everyone that behind the lights and choreography is a musician whose songs have lived inside people's lives for years. Songs become memories. Memories become stories. And stories become moments like this. Then, without warning, the tempo changes again. The lights explode. The band comes back in. The crowd screams. And Bruno is moving again. That is the pattern of the night. Slow. Fast. Romantic. Funky. Emotional. Explosive. Then back again. It is almost like the concert is breathing, and the audience is breathing with it. As the show approaches its biggest sequences, anticipation becomes even stronger. Fans begin wondering how Bruno will close the night. What will be the final major moment? Will the crowd get another surprise? Will the final song create the loudest reaction of the evening? Those questions remain open until the very end. And that is exactly how a great live show should feel. You should never feel like you already know everything that is going to happen. You should feel like the next moment could be the moment everyone remembers.